Welcome back to Eldritch Horror. I'm doing a playthrough with two characters. We have Akachi and Charlie. Charlie the politician, Akachi the shaman. And I'm about to begin turn one. First I want to go over the three phases of a turn round. And I'll just show you the back of the reference sheet. Quick reference, the first is the action phase, which the characters take. And of the actions they can travel, which is move one space. Then they can spend a travel ticket to move additional spaces. They can prepare, which means they can get rail passes, rail tickets, and ship tickets. They can acquire assets by testing their influence, and they can do that in city spaces without monsters. And they can rest, which they can then recover 1 health, 1 sanity, with no monsters in the space again. They can trade possessions with another investigator, or they can do a component action, which basically means they can use their unique investigator ability or possession cards that have the word action or local action on them. So that's the first phase of a turn. The second phase would be the encounter phase. And they get to choose one encounter. However, if there is a monster on their space, they must encounter the monster first. And if they don't defeat the monster, they can't have any other encounters. And then lastly, the Mythos Phase. And there's a bunch of symbols here which tell you what happens. So those are the three phases of a turn. So let's begin. First thing I'm going to do is we have Charlie up here in San Francisco. Now he's got an influence of 4 and he has a personal assistance which gives him an influence of 5. So he's going to try to acquire some assets, and he may pass that over to Akachi or he may keep it himself. So he has 5 dice, successes on a 5 or 6. So he has 2 successes. So what does that mean? Let's take a look at the assets and we'll explain that. So basically here we have the assets, and now there's a number in the upper left corner of each asset. Now Charlie had 2 successes, so it means he can spend up to 2. So he can get the 45 automatics if he wants, it's cost 2, or he can get the Arcane Scholar. Now, I think what he's going to do is he's actually going to acquire the Arcane Scholar. Now, the Arcane Scholar is an ally, and he gains, the person that has it gains +1 on their lore, and you can re-roll 1 die when doing a lore test. So what he is actually going to do is he is going to actually give that ally to Akachi because she is the shaman, and having an Arcane Scholar with her would probably be a good choice. So that's his first action, and being replaced in the reserve is going to be the puzzle box. And when you perform a rest action, you may attempt to open the puzzle box at -2 observation. If you pass, discard this card and gain an artifact. So that's not a bad item to have either if you want to obtain an artifact. So let's go back to the board now, and we'll have Charlie do his second action. Okay, we're back to Charlie's second action. Now I'm going to actually use his ability on his card, which states another investigator of your choice may immediately perform 1 additional action. So he is going to give his 1 action ability. So as an action, he's giving an action to Akachi. And Akachi gets to use that action right away. So what Akachi is going to use the action for is she is actually going to acquire a boat ticket. So that costs 1 action for her, which she got from Charlie. So she gets a boat ticket. Now, it is now basically Akachi's turn. She has 2 actions. The first action I'm going to have her do is I'm going to have her move. So you get to move 1 space, so she's going to take this route here. And now she's going to spend her boat ticket to travel 1 more sea route space, which will take her right into Rome. Now, she does have 1 more action left. Now, there's a monster on her space, so she wouldn't be able to rest, and she won't be able to acquire assets. But she can... her card ability says she can look at the top 2 gates in the stack and put 1 gate on the top of the stack pile and the other on the bottom. So she's going to do that right now. So we'll look at the top 2 gates, and we have Tokyo and Shanghai. Now the Shanghai gate has the red symbol, which is at the bottom of the omen track, will not happen for possibly 2 turns, and Tokyo has the sort of constellation symbol, the blue one, and that is likely to happen turn after next. So I think she is actually going to put the Shanghai on the bottom of the stack, and she's going to put the Tokyo on the top. Now that will end her actions. So at the end of the action phase, now it is the encounter phase. And first up is Charlie over in San Francisco. Now he has two choices of encounter. He can take a San Francisco encounter, or he can take a generic city encounter. I think I'm going to have him take the San Francisco encounter. So I pull it off the appropriate deck, which is the green deck for the Americas. And we look at San Francisco and we see what it says. Inspector Jack Mannion is looking for information about the Tongs in Chinatown. If you can help him, he'll teach you the basics of police work in exchange. You may spend 1 clue token to improve your observation skill. Well, unfortunately, Charlie does not have any clue tokens, so he will not be able to do that. And so that actually encounter is over. Tough luck, Charlie. Okay, that was the encounter for Charlie. Now we'll have an encounter right here with Akachi. Now she is up here with the cultist. And the cultist, I forgot it actually, when it first comes out, it has a little green symbol up here, which means you flip it over. And now it says on the back of the cultist, use the cultist information listed on the Ancient One sheet. Well, there is no immediate ability for cultists on the Azathoth sheet, nor is there a reckoning, the little red symbol in the bottom, ability on Azathoth sheet. So that's why they get you to play Azathoth first. It is the least complicated of the old ones. However, Akachi has to fight this one, and looking at Azathoth sheet, we will take a look at the cultist information, which is right here. And basically what it says here is you have to make a sanity check, or will check, against sanity loss, and you only need 1 success. It has 1 hit point to be defeated. However, it just says after resolving the willpower test, lose a health and defeat the monster. So basically the cultist goes nuts and tries to kill you while it kills himself, I guess, at the same time. So Akachi has a willpower 4, so she's going to do the sanity test. She just needs 1 success, and she got it with a 5. So she does not take any sanity loss. However, she will take 1 health loss, which I'm just removing, and the cultist is defeated. So away he goes back into the bucket of monsters. Now, when you defeat a monster encounter, if there are no more monsters left in the space, you can have another encounter. So she's going to have a gate encounter. She's going to try and close that gate in Rome. See if she can do it. So this is the encounter deck for portals, for gates. And it's City of the Great Race. On a high stone shelf, you find books containing the wisdom of both the distant past and the far-flung future. Unfortunately, the tomes were written using a series of strange curvilinear symbols. You do your best to translate the alien language. -1, so lore -1. She has a lore of 2. Sorry, she has a lore of 3. So she will be rolling 3 -1. However, she has the Arcane Scholar with her, which gives her a +1 and 1 reroll. So she'll be rolling 3 dice with 1 reroll, and she needs a success here. And she has a success, so she doesn't even need to reroll. Now these cards are made up of, this is the success text and this is the fail text. So she succeeded at that test. You decipher the means to return yourself to your own time. Close the gate. After you return, you forgot your time with the Great Race, but you are plagued by strange dreams. So she'll have to make a willpower test. So she closes the gate. So this gate will then be returned, actually discarded at the moment. It doesn't go on the back of the bottom of the pile. And then she has to, she's plagued by strange dreams. So she needs to make a willpower check. And her willpower is 4. So she's lots of willpower. And she needs a success. And she gets a 6, so she succeeds. So we're back to the card. And the card says, if you pass, you explore these visions during your sleep. Gain 1 clue. Well, that's pretty awesome. So we pull a random clue out of the bucket. We don't look at it, so she gains a clue. And it is good to have clues because you need clues to close things. So the gate is closed, and that ends the encounter phase. And now comes the fun part, of course, which is the Mythos Phase. So we'll get to that in just a second. Okay, so it's Mythos Phase time. So I have pre-made the Mythos deck, put them in a specific order, and we'll be drawing the top card and resolving it. So here we have the first Mythos card in our game, and this symbol here means we move the omen on the omen track. So that's way up here, and we're going to move it one space clockwise, and it goes to the blue constellation symbol. But there are no gates on the board right now, so nothing is going to happen that way. Now we have the red reckoning symbol here. What that means is if there are any monsters on the board with that symbol, we would look at their back and deal with it. Then if there are any rumor cards in the game, we would look at those and deal with it. Then we look at the old one card, but Azathoth doesn't have it. And then we look at the player character sheets. And if they have any conditions, generally, there will be a reckoning. But in this first round here, there is nothing to be reckoned. So the next is a gate appears, and that's the little swirly symbol here. So we pull the gate off the top, and we already know what it is because of Akachi's ability. So it goes to Tokyo. And of course, no gate would appear without a monster. So reach into the cup, and we will pull out another cultist. With lots of cultists to Azathoth kicking around. Okay, and now we continue. So there's some flavor text on the card. It said, these sudden thunderstorms have grown more common. Twice a day, rain that smells like seawater floods the streets, and the cold winds that cut like glass threaten to pull doors off their hinges. And the text on the card is the Bermuda Triangle, and it's an event. Each investigator rolls one die. On a 1 or 2, he moves to space 8 and becomes delayed. Well, that's pretty sad. All right, let's start with our leader. Let's see if the politician gets swept out of San Francisco and dumped into the Bermuda Triangle on space 8. No, he doesn't. Now, Akachi is up in Rome. Does this happen to her? If she rolls her 1 or 2, then I guess it does happen to her. No, it doesn't. So they're safe. And that concludes turn 1 of Eldritch Horror. We managed to close a gate. Nobody's gone insane or had horrible condition yet. Akachi lost 1 life taking out the cultist. But I think so far things are looking not too terrible. And I did forget to mention here, when this is the little player aid. So the symbols on the card, when we get a spawn of a gate with 2 players, we just spawn 1 gate. And there's 4 of these cards, and they spawn different numbers. And when you spawn clues, you spawn 1, and if you have a monster surge, you have 1. Anyway, that's the end of turn 1. Please join me next time for turn 2, and we'll see if we can try to stop Azathoth from eating the world. Thanks for watching, and join me next time.